on? It's Asher coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Today we're going to talk about all the new champions being added to the game pretty quickly, hopefully, in Update 4.50. Now, a lot of these champions are either the new Doom Tower champions or the new champions as part of the Fusion. 4 of the 5 epics are part of the new Fusion. I'm going to talk about which epics I will be going for because I probably will not be going for the Fusion, but I want to hear from you guys as well. Do you think the Fusion is worth it? All of these epics and legendaries, all these champions from the Doom Tower, we went over in a collab with Scratch AK-47. I'll include that video in the description below as well. So we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about these champions. I do want to make a big point about Doom Tower though, and that is now we're going to have 6 epics and 6 legendary champions that are exclusive to Doom Tower. And in my mind, it's really a shame that these champions are going to take so incredibly long to unlock, not just for new players, just for everybody, right? So I think I really strongly believe this, and I want to hear your feedback on this as well. And when I do a Plarium interview coming up this week or next, I will ask them about this specifically, especially if you guys agree with me. But don't you think, I don't know if it would mess anything up for the people who already have progress, but don't you think that they should just make these champions fragment summons and you're given a special type of fragment from Doom Tower, like a Doom Tower fragment, and then you can just spend them on any champion that you want to, any of these epics or legendaries? It really, to me, it's not like they progressively get better. Sometimes some of the champions, like for example, Archmage Helmet, I would say, you know, in most cases, unless you really need a reviver, is better than Ryan, the third champion that you get from normal. And the same thing, you know, on hard, it doesn't necessarily mean they're better the longer that you go. So it's you know, I mean, some of these champions, Taya looks really cool, Gwyneth looks pretty good, Dark Kael, screw that. Dark Kael looks amazing, but I just can't stop thinking about, yeah, amazing in what, 6 months or a year, depending on where you are in Doom Tower. Let me know what you feel, how you feel about that, guys. So Dark Kael, as a 3-hitter on his A1, each hit has a 35% chance, excuse me, when booked, to instantly activate 2 poisons or a poison and an HP burn. Great for Giant Slayer. You can already tell this guy's going to deal a tremendous amount of damage between his poisons, his poison sensitivity, and his instant activation on the A1. He has an A2 as well, an AoE attack with a decreased attack. This guy's going to be a clan boss just machine, and it keeps getting better. Each critical hit also has a 100% chance when booked on a 3-turn cooldown of increasing the duration of all debuffs on the target by 1 turn. Man, this guy looks like really legit, certainly a legendary-esque kit. And then Reality Acid is A3, has a 100% chance on a 3-turn cooldown when booked of placing 3 poisons, big versions, and a poison sensitivity debuff, decreases the crit rate of enemies under 2 or more poison debuffs by 15%. Man, Dark Kael really looks insane for clan boss, dragon, anywhere that you need poisons. I'm so excited for this dude, again, kind of tempered by, you know, the point that I made to open this video. Jeez, it's just going to be a long time. It doesn't seem like they should, you know, I don't know. That's just my opinion. Varl the Destroyer is one of the legendary champions you get. He has an AoE weaken, decrease attack as well on enemies who receive the weaken. He has ignored targets defense. We don't know the multipliers on any of these champions, by the way, guys, so it's really hard to say, especially on the attack-based champions. It's very difficult to say how good they will be because a lot of it's going to be predicated on how much damage they're doing. So this guy could be good, he might not be. I don't know, too early to say. Vassal of the Seal, kind of the same thing. He's the other legendary Doom Tower champion. He has, or one of the 3 legendary Doom Tower champions. He has a true fear, or excuse me, HP burn on targets under true fear. It's kind of a long kit to read. I'll let you guys go ahead and check out that video again with Scratch. He has an AoE true fear, which is a great crowd control ability, a chance of not taking a turn, 50% chance, and putting that skill on cooldown. That's legit. It can be booked all the way down to 3 turns as well. We're just finding out these books today, like, you know, what the books will do in terms of cooldown and increased percentage. Balance HP of all allies, kind of a Sinesha type heal. Also have a granting an extra turn. So this guy actually looks really good as a HP based champion. And we actually did here in the you know, the the Russian interview translation or whatever that Cybele did, that they're going to find new uses for HP-based champions. That's kind of vague, to say the least, but, you know, interested to see what that is. So the third champion is Basatha from Doom Tower, a Lizardman magic affinity champion. We have decreased attack on the A1. We have strengthen and continuous heal on the A2. We also have a shield on that A2, which is pretty cool, but it's only under allies with fear, true fear, freeze, provoke, sleep, and stuns. So like the opportunist mastery debuffs. And then an AoE stun, 100% chance of landing a stun on a 4-turn cooldown, and turn meter decrease. Again, this champion looks really good as well. Basatha, right? A good crowd control champion, has ally HP in all battles by 31%, and whenever an enemy is revived, has a 100% chance of placing a stun debuff on them for 1 turn, cannot be resisted or blocked. Very, very cool looking champion. I'm really excited about Basatha. All right, so the new champions, Leorius the Proud is a lion, dude. These lion skinwalkers look really, really badass, and personally, I'm really happy because skinwalkers, I think, I talk about this in tomorrow's video as well, they are the weakest faction in my estimation by a long shot. So it's cool to see them actually get some really solid champions. So a lion champion, Void, so good luck getting him, of course, but he looks pretty cool. He has a decreased defense on his A1, the big version. Decrease increases by 20% if the target has less than 60% HP, or excuse me, the decrease, the damage increases. On the A2, Rage of the Pride, this is very interesting here. The first thing that I thought of when I read this ability is, let's cancel it out. Let's go in there with the AI and turn it off. Even though having a 3-turn cooldown, attacking all enemies 2 times, we do not know the multipliers there. He is an attack-based champion, so it might really cost us by turning this off, but this guy looks like it's just insane because this champion's immune to all CC, like thinking of for the arena, right? He's immune to stun, freeze, sleep, provoke, fear, true fear when this skill is not on cooldown. Very cool. And then Awesome Roar is an AoE attack with a 100% chance of placing true fear debuff for 1 turn before attacking, has a 100% chance of placing a weaken debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. So he's immune to freeze. I mean, Torment is crying in the corner right now somewhere, right? Because immune to CC here, and then on the A3, or this sort of CC, I guess, right? Not like, you know, the Vrask, what Ash Warlord CC, but Awesome Roar, right? Really good ability. True Fear, 100% chance. Thank you very much. This is on a 4-turn cooldown, but check out True Grit. Instantly places an unkillable buff on this champion for 1 turn before receiving a fatal hit. Okay, man, that's annoying to deal with in the arena, or awesome if you're the one playing him. And then damage increases as this champion's HP decreases by 1% for every 1% HP lost. Again, we don't know the multipliers, but this guy looks really, really cool. Again, if you shut off this ability, which wouldn't be the right call, you know, in some situations, but situationally, you can make him just immune to anything, any crowd control, at least these ones. So pretty cool champion. I'm really excited about this dude. But yeah, we'll see. Leorius, okay. Mother Cybele, or yeah, Cybele. Man, apologies for all my name butchering, guys. We have an AoE on the A1. This is the fusion champion, by the way. Community, I would say, from what I see, I don't know, 30% of people are excited about this champion, 70% aren't. The 30% that I do see excited, this is just ballpark here, are end game players kind of using her in niche situations in like Platinum Tier Arena. Talk about that in just a second here. Everybody else, including some of those end game players, are really, really down this champion. A lot of people will be skipping her. I think I will be as well, because some of the epics actually look pretty good that are required to fuse her, right? So an AoE decreased speed on the A1 also fills this champion's turn meter by 15%. I love this ability, right? Great A1. A2, Soul Shepherd. Places a Revive on Death buff and a 60% increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns. This can be booked all the way down to a 3-turn cooldown from 6. And then we have, I mean, not bad on the books for a fusion, right? Sure, we have a lot of them, but I mean, I guess, I don't know. Maybe they're just playing mental mind games with me, right? I'm like, not bad, because they're all cooldowns, but do we need this many cooldown books? You know, like, could it easily just be 2 cooldowns on each ability? Either way, on the A3, Uncanny Transfer swaps HP with an ally if this champion's HP is equal to or higher than the target after the swap, fills the champion's turn meter by 40%, places an increased speed on this champion for 2 turns, places a block damage buff on a target ally for 1 turn. If this champion's HP is lower than the target's after the swap, fills the turn meter of the by 40%, places an increased speed buff on them for 2 turns, places a block damage buff on them on this champion for 1 turn, and also places 2 continuous heal buffs on this champion for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm missing it here, but this ability is just a lot. It's very wordy. It says a lot, but it's not really exciting me. It's all single target, you know. I don't know. You guys seeing some potential that I'm not here. Gravewalker, the passive, fully heals an ally with lowest HP whenever this champion is killed. Heals all allies by 20% of their max HP and fills their turn meters by 15% whenever this champion is revived. So maybe some cool, like, end-game revivers synergy to get some heal. But is it worth it? Is it worth it, or is it a nice little bonus? I look at it more as a nice little bonus versus, like, a real game-changer passive. For me, I'm just passing on her, man. I mean, I don't know. Increased defense, revive on death, decreased speed. She's bringing, like, some decent debuffs to the table and buffs to the table, or 1 decent debuff to the table with an AoE on the A1, but I'm struggling to find, you know, is she a bad champion to have? Maybe not. But is she worth, you know, all the effort that goes in, resources that go into a fusion? On top of the fact there's some great epics, for me personally, the answer is no, but I'm curious on you guys. Aura 2, increase ally speed in all battles by 24%. That's really good. So Magnar is the first epic here. Spirit HP Demon Spawn. On the A1, this guy's like a ball of flames. On the A1, attacks 1 enemy with decreased defense, big version, for 2 turns. High percentage chance at landing, not bad. Also has a 100% chance instead if the target's under HP burn. On the A2, an AoE attack places an extra hit on enemies without HP burn debuffs, has a 75% chance, excuse me, of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn on enemies under HP burn debuffs. Okay, an AoE extra hit without HP burn, and then has a stun if they're under HP burn. It's on a 3-turn cooldown, not bad. The A3, Fan the Flames. Attacks 1 enemy, applies a debuff spread effect, taking 2 random debuffs from the target and placing them on all enemies under HP burn debuffs. Also increases the duration of HP burn debuffs on all enemies by 1 turn. Will not spread all the great debuffs. This champion's heals by 1% of their max HP every time anyone in the battle takes damage from an HP burn debuff. So kind of a cool heal. Defense in Doom Tower by 30%, not bad. I'm thinking as a companion, he doesn't have HP burn in his own kit. That's kind of weird. But still, HP burn is so meta right now, with Drexstar Blood Twin being used everywhere, Akoth the Seared, Geomancer, a beast, by the way, right? And Mordecai. I feel like most people probably who are in the mid game at least already have a champion built with HP burn. He could be a nice complementary champion, because he has some CC in his kit, he has decreased defense on his A1, he has that debuff spread. So I'm not sleeping on Magnar. He doesn't jump off the page as like, wow, this guy's amazing, but we don't know his multipliers. He is HP based, so easy to keep alive as well. I am actually, I don't know, I have a funny feeling that he might be really good in very specific kind of niche synergistic teams, right? Conellia is interesting looking. She's almost like second most scary champion to Little Miss Annie, maybe? I don't know. She's kind of freaky. A thing of my nightmares. A magic support dwarf champion. Attacks 1 enemy. Has a, 50% chance of increasing the cooldown of one of the target skills by 2 turns at random. Okay, not bad for an A1. Piece of the Deep on the A2. Basic effect, when ascended. Has a 100% chance of placing a sleep debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. Passive. Whenever an enemy loses a sleep debuff placed by this skill, has a 50% chance, make it 75, of replacing it with a fear debuff for 1 turn instead. Man, just place the fear instead. How about that? On a 3-turn cooldown, it's a weird ability, but I can't say it's awful. I can't say it's amazing. I don't know. We'll have to playtest this one. Conellia, again, you know, she's one of those champions that when I first read her kit, I was like, man, this is weird. I don't think I like her. But now, I think I have a weird feeling too about her, right? Look at this one on a 2-turn cooldown or A3. This is something I've never seen before in the game. Again, hats off to Plarium, kind of like thinking outside the box on these champions. They're still finding ways to make them interesting, even with a million champions in the game. Plays a sleep debuff on an ally for 1 turn. You heard that right. Plays a sleep debuff on an ally. Heals the ally by 50% of their max HP and fills the turn meter by 50% whenever the sleep debuff expires or gets removed. So we get a heal and turn meter fill on 1 ally on a 2-turn cooldown now. Heals that ally by 100% and completely fills their turn meter if the sleep debuff is lost due to taking damage from an enemy. I don't know, man. That's pretty insane. The full turn meter fill, the full heal on a 2-turn cooldown. But then again, you could lose your turn if you're, you know. So I don't know. For me, I'm very on the fence, but could be cool in some situations, I guess. Increase speed in all battles by 18%. Nice aura, I suppose. So this next one is an Epic Spirit HP Shadowkin. Another HP-based champion is Jurojin. On the A1, decrease attack. Decent land rate there as well. On the A2, Faded Duel. Plays a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns equal to 25% of their max HP. Then attacks 1 enemy. Plays a provoke debuff for 1 turn. Single target though. If this champion's max HP is equal to or lower, the provoke cannot be resisted. Who cares, man? 3-turn cooldown. Attack 1 enemy, ignore 25% of the target's defense, will also ignore unkillable and block damage buffs on a 3-turn cooldown. Alright. Will receive 25% less damage from enemies attacks when this champion's HP drops below 50%. Alright. HP in all battles, alright. Not too excited about this champion unless has crazy HP multipliers, which is usually not the case. I just think that, you know, single target champions at this point, with power creep being a thing in the game, doesn't excite me too much. Tolf the Maimed. Tolf is an epic void HP orc champion. Attacks 1 enemy 2 times on the A1. Each hit heals this champion by 30% of the damage inflicted. Cannot be critical. On the A2, cut wide open. Okay. Attacks 1 enemy on a 3-turn cooldown. When not attacking bosses, inflicts pure damage and decreases the target's HP by 50%. Inflicts damage based on this champion's max HP instead, and places a stun debuff for 1 turn if the target already has less than 50% HP. Wow, that's interesting, right? So damage based on this champion's max HP, not enemy. It'd be kind of cool if there was a, you know, champion that changed to enemy max HP like a cold tart and boom, it started hammering away when they're close to dead. But that's not the case. I don't know. All right, I guess. Cannot be critical though. Cannot be critical. Inflicts damage based on the champion's max HP when attacking bosses. I don't know, man. Armor Cracker decreases the value of all enemies' shield buffs by 50% at the start of every turn. Honestly, I think the only use for Tolf, and I could be wrong, obviously, is going to be like a niche arena, right? If you go against PvP, like going against big shield teams, which isn't even like super meta right now, go in there and, you know, reduce the shield. Other than that, maybe Scarab King because of decrease the target's HP by 50%. I don't know. Or actually decrease, it's not the max HP, it's just HP. Okay, so it's a 50% HP reduction. My bad on that, my bad. At least we kind of worked through it together on the video, right? So that's interesting. If they have 20k HP, it does 10k damage. Boom. When not attacking bosses. I don't know. When not attacking bosses, blah, blah, blah. When attacking bosses, champions max HP. I don't know. Interesting champion, but I'm not super excited. Urogrim, rarity, epic, void, support, Ogrin. Attacks 1 enemy 3 times. When ascended, each hit has a 25% chance, make it a 45% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns. Not bad at all. Each hit has that on the A1. Removes all debuffs from an ally, then heals them by 40% of their max HP on a 3-turn. This is like Steel Skull, but maybe a little bit better, because look at this A3. Bizarre Vapors has 3 poison debuffs on all enemies for 2 turns, also places 2 continuous heal buffs on all allies for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. Man, Urogrim is an insane epic champion, right? I mean, that's a really, really good epic champion. Very excited about Urogrim. Ashwalker. What? Say what? I like the name, Ashwalker. An Attack Knight's Revenant champion. Is he good, though? Ashwalker. I like this. Something about it. I don't know what it is. Something I can't place it. Something about the name. Attacks one enemy, resets the cooldown of Devastator, which is the A2, if it kills an enemy. All right, hate those. Like, you know, is this dude going to be killing a lot of enemies? I don't know. Attacks one enemy, that remains to be seen. We don't know the multipliers. Attacks one enemy, has a 65, 70, 80% chance, or 85% chance, excuse me, of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn, decrease the turn meter of all enemies by 10% if the attack is critical on a 4 turn. Backbreaker, attacks all enemies, has a 100% chance when invoked of placing a weak version of Weaken. Meh. Not excited about Ashwalker. Candle Guard. Candle Guard in the A1 attacks one enemy, has a 50%, 60% chance of removing 1 random buff. Has a 70% chance of stealing 1 random buff instead if the target has 3 or more buffs. Whatever. An AoE A2 has a 75% chance of placing a Weaken, the weak version of Weaken, whatever. Places an increased attack buff and an increased crit rate buff on this champion for 3 turns, then attacks all enemies. On a 4-turn cooldown. I don't know, the only way she would be good, in my opinion, is if she has really crazy multipliers. Are they going to add a rare champion with really crazy multipliers? Probably not. Hellfreak. And I'm not talking even my free-to-play account, guys. I'm not judging them based on an endgame account. I'm judging them based on if I would max them out on my free-to-play. And so far, the answer is no on these rares. You know, pending something crazy with their multipliers. Hellfreak, a Spirit Attack Demon Spawn Champion on the A1, 2-hitter decreased defense, big version. Okay. Each hit has a, 20, make it a 30, 40% chance. Not bad. Attacks one enemy. Has a 75% chance of stealing all buffs from the target before attacking. That's on a 3-turn cooldown. Mind games. Okay. Worst Nightmare. Swaps HP with an enemy, then grants an extra turn on a 4-turn. I gotta say, Hellfreak is worth maxing out. Just to test out, right? And I'll definitely do that for you guys, because this is my favorite out of the 3 rare champions, and it's really not even that close, or out of the 4 rare champions. Okay, let me go on here. Lumberer is a Force Affinity Ogre Tribes attack champion, attacks one enemies, has a 50% chance of placing a decreased attack for 2 turns, also has a 40% chance of increasing the cooldown of any decreased defense debuffs by 1 turn. All right. Attacks one enemy, has a decreased defense for 2 turns on 1 enemy on a 75% clip at 3-turn cooldown. Whatever. Increased crit damage on this champion for 2 turns, then attacks all enemies. Massive Momentum is the name of this. I don't know, man. Unless it's an insane multipliers, I'm not excited about this one at all either. And here we go. It is Teumesia. Teumesia is the last champion. It's an OP, another OP Skinwalker. I love to see it. Void attack. At least it looks OP, right? It, she, he, she. Teumesia. All right. Attacks one enemy. Has a 50% chance of placing a decreased defense for 2 turns. Has a 100% chance of placing a decreased defense for 2 turns on a target before attacking if the target is under an HP burn debuff. On the A2, Cunning Chaos. Attacks all enemies. 100% chance of placing an HP burn debuff for 3 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. Has a 100% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn on targets with 50% turn meter or more. Has a 100% chance of placing a decreased speed debuff for 3 turns on targets with less than 50% turn meter. Wow, great ability, right? I mean, I would just love it to be decreased speed and not stun, especially for bosses with HP burn, but lasting for 3 turns is really, really cool. Burning Regret on the A3, another 3-turn ability, attacks one enemy. Damage increases by 40% for each active HP burn debuff in the battle, up to 400%. Also has a 100% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 15%. Decrease the target's turn meter by an additional 15% for each active HP burn debuff in the battle. What? That sounds really good, man. Inner Heat. Whenever an ally receives a freeze debuff, has a 50% chance of replacing it with an HP burn debuff for 2 turns instead. This debuff cannot be blocked or removed. Whenever an ally or enemy is under an HP burn debuff, this champion is immune to stun, sleep, freeze, fear, true fear, and provoke. whenever an ally receives a freeze debuff, 50% chance to replacing it with an HP burn debuff instead. So, again, I mean, for the arena, it's kind of, again, an anti-Torment, anti-CC kind of team. I like this. I like this. Interesting with the HP burn replacement, but it synergizes with the A3 Burning Regret. Damage increase by 40% for each active HP burn in the battle, up to 14%. Oof. Oof. And then it has all this predicated on HP burns in the battle. If you go against a freeze champion, it's sayonara, game over, I feel like, right? We don't know the multipliers, but then with an AoE attack on the A2, this seems like a very cool champion. So many, I listed them all earlier in the video, so many amazing HP burn champions in the game right now. Again, Geomancer, personally one of my favorite champions in the game. The synergies here on this champion are going to be really fun to explore and to play around with. Guys, thanks so much for watching the video. What do you think of these champions? Who are you looking forward to the most? And are you going for the fusion, or are you skipping this fusion? Thank you for watching, and as always, take care, guys.